Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gents. I hope everyone is well. This is my first day back as of last Thursday. I've been away for a long weekend with the family down to the south of the UK in a beautiful city called Winchester. Just had a long weekend away, just a really relaxing time away. It's the first time we've been away for quite a while, so I feel nice and refreshed. So I hope everyone has had a great weekend. I did get back yesterday afternoon UK time, and I did manage to do a trade. Just over, I think I got about 4.25 points, I think. How you doing, bud? How you doing? Be fast. How you doing? So my PA counts. How you doing, mate? How you doing? My PA, both PA accounts are one's just over $1,300, one's just below $1,300. But I have got another account coming online, which I passed the evaluation, and I have day 6 today. I've done a quick micro this morning. Day 7 tomorrow, so that'll be coming online on Thursday, so we will be up to 3 PA accounts then. So so far so good. So let's just pop that back so we can see it a bit clearer. There we go. Okay, so Bufars and Arminas. I think that's how you say that, isn't it? Arminas, something like that. I'm not too good at pronouncing these things. So okay, so market officially opens in just under 5 minutes. Which it's coming up to 1:30. That was 25 past 1 in the afternoon UK time. Obviously, you guys moved forward an hour about a week ago, just over a week, something like that, and we moved forward. I believe it's early hours of this Sunday morning, so we will catch up. Yes, I'll be back to 2:30 trade. In fact, I kind of like trading at 1:30 UK time. It just gets us in a little bit earlier. Okay, so what am I seeing this morning? Let's have a look. Okay, so we've had we opened here, had a little bit of push down, we went up, down, and we've started moving up in this channel here, and it's fitting quite nice. So that's what we're doing. Now we've got some news, which is just medium impact news. I don't think it's a major issue, but I have it on here just in case, just to be aware. Just to be aware of what's happening. So yeah, so everything's good, somewhat good at the moment. PA accounts are looking nice, building up nice. So we've got our overnight lows there, overnight highs were way above that at the moment, and I've marked yesterday's low. So here we are. So let's see how we get on today. So as I said, market is due open now in about 3.5 minutes. So yeah, so I've been looking at this actually, just wondering. I did look at that, but it's just a little bit too far away, and it's above these highs, so there's nowhere to go really, and it just popped up there and came there. Hey, what? How you doing, my friend? Welcome back. Thank you. So yeah, it was a nice weekend away, actually, long weekend away. Got back yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, but I managed to get a trade in. I was just, you know what it's like when you've been away from the chart for a long weekend. You're desperate to get back, aren't you? So I came in and I had a nice trade yesterday, a nice one trade, relatively quick actually, and I think I got 4.25 points off it. So all good. So yeah, the PA accounts, one's just over $1,200, one's just over $1,300. So all good. And as I say, I've got one more coming online, which is past that one there. I did a micro earlier on, and that was day 6 for that. And I think it's day 6 today for these as well. So things are moving in the right direction. How you doing, bud? Lead loser. How you doing, mate? So yeah, everything's nice and rosy at the moment. It's nice finally to be able to start to build something. So I'm just taking my time. I'm not doing something, anything stupid. And let's try and just carry on as we mean to go on. Nice and why won't you move? Why won't you move? Okay. You don't want to do that there. Okay, so yeah, that's just the open. That's all. Market open, overnight, overnight lows. So yeah, I'm looking at this at the moment. We've got this nice trend channel. It's, I mean, it may end up coming from here at some point, but I've just got it may end up doing something like that at some point. I don't know, but it's just a little bit too. I don't know. This fits nice for the moment. So far we've had this new low and we've had a first entry, and that's a possible failure, which is triggered. But I prefer it to push down below this EMA and then finish above it for me, because there's not a huge space above it really. So there's not a lot of top space which to make a profit. And so I don't know. I don't know whether this may be coming out or coming down or reversing. I don't know at the moment, but we've had a bit of a break here, I think it's fair to say. And I'm just not keen on this. There's not a lot of space to go, maybe a couple of points of a squeeze. And if that's all it does coming down, your timing's got to be pretty good. So just not a fan, really, to be honest with you. Now I'm managing to build these PA accounts again after the last time. I'm trying to just be a little bit extra cautious and be sensible. But that is a failure nonetheless. But as I say, I would prefer this to be over here somewhere and have a little bit of space to move up. So, oh dear me. Okay, market is officially open. Okay, so let's sit back and see how we get on. So, we don't have a Discord channel. To be honest with you, I think it's just completely confusing, to be honest with you. Whether that will come at a later stage, I don't know. Who knows? Things seem to be going all right at the moment, so we'll see. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get involved in other people's just to get to know it a little bit, but it's just I don't know if it's me or not, but it's just I find it a bit confusing to use. It's just a bit complicated. It's just a bit there's I don't know. Perhaps it's me. Perhaps I'm getting old. But I just find it a little bit confusing to use. Okay, so that pushed up nice actually. That wasn't to be fair. That was the failure there, and I suppose really that was a possibility of a higher low, but it's a big bar. I mean, there's about a tick, something like that, to the highs, and it's a little bit too far away from the EMA, so it was just to sit and watch that one. But there was a failure, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan at the moment. I'm just not a fan. I prefer it to come push below and then push above, but I don't know. There's a possibility. I just get worried about getting trapped in areas like this sometimes, but we'll see. I mean, that's quite a nice little seat. I mean, it does come out a little bit. It's not what I would call a major convincing break, but it's a break nonetheless. So it just means I've got to be careful. We've had a break, 2 pushes up to a new high, that there is a possibility it could reverse. So there's always a possibility that it may end up being a bit of a trading day. It's sort of what we had yesterday after this big sort of couple of pushes down, and we came up, and then for this sort of area here we went sideways. So it's just hard to know exactly what its plan is today. It fits along here really nice. A little break here, 1, 2 pushes up to a new high. So it's just keeping an eye on it and seeing what's going on. So incidentally, I've had quite a few of these lately, so if anybody's used my code for evaluation, it's much appreciated. It's the last day today. I believe it finishes midnight. Usually your time, actually, Eastern Standard Time. So it is there if you require it. But if you've used it, it's much appreciated. It does help me be able to trade full time, and I just work weekends, so that bit extra pays for my trading. So if you have used it, and plenty of people have by the looks of things, It does go a long way. I really appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, we've had this little bit of we've come across here. That was the only one I see there fairly, but I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of this at the moment. There's not much space for the highs, and it's just a bit. I mean, it could have possibly be. In fact, that probably would make more sense actually. Yeah, so going along here. I'd have preferred that one and something down here, in which case I would have taken it, but we shall see. In fact, it's probably, just trying to find where it's touching the most. It doesn't miss by the by now anyway, it's moved on. So let's see how we get on here. So yeah, we're still moving up. So far so good. As I say, there's some medium impact news at 2 o'clock, which I believe, I still think that adjusts. It's 2 o'clock UK time, I think. That failure looks good now. Yeah, it does. It's funny how this starts to pull up and it looks quite comfortable. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just telling this is going to happen. It just seemed to top out a little bit there, and I just thought, as it might break out, come back, and then push down. I don't know. It's hard to say sometimes, isn't it? It's just hard to say, and the trouble is when you start to get on a PA account. I've found my mentality when I'm on a PA account is a little bit different to when I'm on an evaluation. I'm a little bit more risky on an evaluation. I think most people are, and I tend to be pretty cautious until I see something obvious. That didn't scream at me, although it was a failure nonetheless. I mean, you could have said that was a second entry short. There may have been a few shorts in there which it ticked below, and it's always nice to sort of catch some of the opposite movers traders, which then obviously hits their stop, which gives it some momentum, and then obviously they turn from thinking it's going short to thinking it's going long, and you can get a few nice big bars. But it's doing very much the same here, so this is telling me it might be losing a bit of momentum. And the bit that confuses me or makes me nervous is we've already had a break. Now, whether you call this a break or not, I don't know. It's a personal thing. To me, I think it's always better to call it a break, because if you don't call that a break, you may be looking to go long here. Whereas if it is a break, which it looks like, we've had sort of like 1-2 pushes up to a new high. Once it might be an area for reversing. Hey, Speedy, how you doing, mate? So I always like to try now and just count that as a break. Otherwise, I'll be thinking about going long here. We may go long here. It might not be, but I think the safer option is to just play the safe card and say let's pretend we've had a break and it may come down. So it's always safer. Pass your eval yesterday. Need to hold it for a few more days. Excellent. I did one yesterday as well, buddy. I did. I've got these 2 PAs, but I've just hit my target and I did a quick Do you know what it is? Whenever you do a 1 tick micro, every single time it loses. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But this is day 6, so I've got one more day. So it's nice when you hit that. It's nice when you pass them, isn't it? And you just do a micro, isn't it? One a day. So good on you, mate. Good on you. So yeah, it's just okay. So we've had this new high. That to me, let me get a bit closer. That to me looks like it's broken above there. So we've got the new high. Try to go once. Try to go high twice. Failed. Come back down. So you can recount this. I think it's the same height as that. It does look at you. It is. Okay, so we've retested that high. So this is where I need to be careful, because I've been trapped going long so many times. I need to keep in mind that is a break. In my opinion, it is. I mean, you could probably adjust this, but every time it comes out a bit, you keep adjusting it. I find sometimes you can get caught there. So this may be a trap. Hey Nick, how you doing, mate? Lance with the advanced chart reading. Thank you. You got more confidence in me than I have, mate. How you doing, Nick? Anyway, you all right? Hope you're well, mate. Nick's a guy I chat with offline quite regularly. He's my little bit of a what's the word? He helps to keep me on the straight and narrow. He's a little bit more sensible than me. I'm a little bit more of a gambler. He's a little bit more of the safety. He's a sort of my safety marshal, if you like. So I do advise you if sometimes, you know, when you chat to different people and you do click with some people, it's a good idea to have some regular chat offline with people because you can help each other out. I'd say there's Nick, there's Marlon, there's probably about 2 or 3 guys I chat with quite regular, and some people you just click with, you seem to get on well with, and Nick's one of them, and it's a good idea just to help each other out, give each other maybe a bit of a pep talk before you're trading, or if your mate's had a tough day, you know, give him a little bit of a lift, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, we all know what these emotions are like, and they can cripple us sometimes. So a little bit of a stiff talking to sometimes, and a little bit of support from a buddy, and it does help. I had a chat with Nick about a week and a half ago. I had a tough couple of days, and when I was trading, I had what he said in the back of my mind, and that helped me keep me a little bit straight from that session. So get yourself some trading buddies and chat to them a few times a week at least, and you can help each other out. It's good. It's good because we all know it's like that little sort of it's like that unique club, isn't it, that we've all belonged to. So it's good to sort of help each other out. So that is my advice. Okay, so this is a second entry long. The only bit that's making me nervous is that bit there, and the fact that we have had a break. So this may be a trap, or it might rock it up, but that's clearly congestion to me. So this has got alarm bells. Not to say it's not going to work, but this is alarm bells to me. Ringy, ringy, ringy. So it is a second entry, but you've got to be aware of that. And these areas, they can be a bit trap city. I wouldn't be shocked if that ticked above and came back down and created a failure then. Because if it ticked above, it's created a failure. And then that push, it may not even tick above, but I don't know. I'm not sure whether we're coming down here now or what. I don't know. So your guess is as good as mine. If it does, I'm quite glad. I'll be quite glad if it does tick below there, because that means hopefully there won't be any traders trapped there. Also, we could be going long, and this might just be a bit of 2 legs back. Sometimes it's nice to have 1 leg, 2 legs, and then push up, but you got to be careful taking this first entry and let it push up above, because it could be coming down a bit now after this break. So, you know, every time we trade and every time we lose, we tend to learn things. And this is just something I tend to keep in mind now. Even if it's a small push out, I consider it as a break, and that channel is played out, so it could come down. So be careful going long. Fortunately, that second entry long didn't trigger, but you've only got to look sideways, haven't you? And you got all this straight away. EMA's flat, so that spells danger. So this could be, I would prefer to take a second entry long off here. The only trouble is picking bottoms for me has been a problem I've had. So I tend now to leave them alone. I would prefer it to touch here, then push up strongly above the EMA, and then maybe take a high low or something. So sometimes it's safer to have that in mind, that we may have broken and we may be coming down. But yeah, so far we've had this nice little trend up. Okay, let's get rid of that for the minute. Push down sideways, break out the bottom, and pushed up strongly. You're just got to be so careful here. So let me have a look at that. Okay, so there may have been some shorts in there. May have been some shorts there, which have been stopped out now. So that's what I mean. You may have gone long there. You may be getting stopped out. So this might be a double trap. So you've got to be so careful. Yeah. This is a double trap, I think, by the look that's coming down. It's quite likely going to get stopped below here. Depends. I mean, we've had some strong buying, so maybe the upward momentum might stop some traps here. Let's have a look. Yeah, if anybody took that short, just a lower high really, because we recount that. If anybody took that short, triggered, and they've just been stopped out. If anybody took that, let me think, that long, it's been triggered and it's been stopped out. So you're out of that one as well. If anybody thought, okay, we've pushed nice and strong here, that's triggered, and now you've been stopped out of that one. So there's 1, 2, there's 3 traps there. So that's the trouble with these. You've got to be so careful. It's so easy. I mean, sometimes when you realise you've been trapped and you're taking out the trade, you immediately take the opposite trade. And then, you know, if you're thinking, oh, I've taken out of that one, and then you might think, oh, I'll jump into this one. And that's the trouble sometimes when you lose a trade. It's very easy to have that. And I know it. When I lose a trade, I can feel it. It's almost like you can feel the blood running through your veins and you're desperate to jump in, and you've got to be so careful because you can do it without thinking about it. So what I've started doing, the second I take a loss, I put my mouse down and I start writing a book, a little bit of a pad that I keep, and I write down all the positive things that trading, being a successful trader, can give me. You know, better working conditions, low hours, much better money. You know what it's like. You've all dreamt of it. We all know what's possible in this business if you can get it right. So that's what I tend to do now, and that calms me down quick. So you've got to do whatever it takes. But it is getting very messy here, and I wouldn't be shocked if this break new high and we're moving down now. It could end up. We do a lot of ranging currently. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't know. We do a lot of ranging at the moment, so because we've had this push up doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do that for the rest of the day. It could come back down and bounce here, and then we may end up doing, you know, the typical range up and down stuff. So I'm trying not now to think about we must have a new high, because of this. So many times I've been trapped, you know, convinced we're going long, and what we're actually doing, I'm missing what's right in front of my eyes. So easy to do that. You might have seen this and think, well, there we go. That's our ticket to the top. And what happens? It went up a couple of ticks and stopped out. You've got to be so careful. Yeah. I mean, we've had quite a strong upward momentum from the bottom here. What have we gone? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40. Best part of 45 points upwards. So you would think, and you remember me mention here, it may end up coming from something like this at some point, which may end up doing something like that. Is possible. So I'm just trying to keep an open mind what the bigger picture may be. See, that might now get dragged in, depending on what happens here, but I always like to try and err on the side of safety, because that might, you know, when you see this, you're thinking long, but we have actually broken out. So technically that channel has played out. If you look where it's touching, it's clearly running along that line, isn't it? Right to there, and then out we pop. It's not what I would call a convincing break, but I think it's much better to err on the side of safety, and I think this could come down. It might pop up. That's the trouble. 1 minute I'm saying it might go up, it might come down. Clearly I'm confused, so if you're confused and unsure, you best let it run. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let it sort itself out for a minute. I'm just going to take a few minute break. I'm just going to make myself a quick coffee and I will be back. Okay. As I sort of expected. That's the thing you could, and I've done this, sorry, I'm out of breath, just run upstairs. When you see that, you could drag that out and it sort of fits. And you're thinking, oh, our second entry, I'll go along there. Triggered. Stopped you out. You could think, okay, I'll take that one. Triggered. Stopped you out. You know what I mean? That's the trouble. There's so many different traps. So I always think, where you first started this, which was there, and where you dragged that up, you naturally see that. So, sorry. Dogs have just run off. I've just had to chase one of the dogs down the street. I'm not a runner anymore, so it just took me out of breath. Hey, Jonathan, how you doing, mate? What's up, mate? How you doing? I'm liking this action currently. Yeah, it's looking kind of well, shall we say normal? Usually it's bouncing all over the place, isn't it? But yeah, so far so good. I was looking in here to see if there was an option, and I was a little bit unsure. I was also looking there as well, and I suppose that was the best option, but it was just, I prefer it lower down here. It wasn't a low, and the bar wasn't fantastic, so I had to let that one go. You may have took that, I think, was not too bad, actually. And the trouble is you're a little bit sideways, but if you look here, every bottom is getting higher and higher. So that was a second entry. You can recount that if you like. That was a second entry long, which if I'd have been watching, I'd have taken that one because it was quite a nice small bar. I like where it was. What was it? 3, 2.5 per. It wasn't that small. Is that right? 1.75. Yes, 2.5. So that, if I'd have watched it, I'd have taken that one. Although we were a little bit rangy, but we were moving up. So apart from that, I can't see anything else that really interests me. So we've actually made a new low down here, first entry. It's feasible we may come back up here because there are people going to be seeing this that might have included that in the chart. It's not what I would say the most convincing break. And as I say, if you do adjust it, but I always like to err on the side of caution. I don't try and now assume we're going up because I've got myself into so much trouble. And you learn, there's no better lesson than losing a trade because it gets rammed in your memory, and hopefully trying to be aware of it next time. But this to me is danger. And the more you sit in front of these charts and watch, the more you know these areas like here and here to stay out, because it literally could go anywhere. It could go up. I would have thought it would have gone up, but you just don't know. We've had plenty of options to go up. We've had one opportunity, 2, 3, 4, and it hasn't worked. So caution. Yeah, pretty strong trend. Yeah, it is, isn't it? There's a good documentary with old traders, is there? I always look at those. In fact, there was a program. There was a guy I used to follow. What's his name? He almost got like an Italian name, but he's an English guy. In the Pit, it's called. Oh, I'll have to have a look at that. Who's the guy, the trader? He started trading himself when he was about 16, and he worked for. Who did he work for? Was it JP Morgan? I can't remember now. It'll come to me. I tend to follow him. What's his name? I can't remember. It's almost like an Italian name. One guy says, when you start thinking, that's how you know you've lost. Yeah, I suppose a lot with trading is just is looking at it, isn't it? You see it and you just know when to go for it. And I suppose if you start questioning it, something, yeah, I suppose, let me think about what you just said there. Yeah, if you think, what about this or what about that? Or is it, yeah, you're thinking, aren't you? Trading's definitely very unique. I mean, I've had lots of jobs over the years. You know, in my younger days, I was in all sorts of types of jobs. I just couldn't make up my mind what I wanted to do. And this is by far the toughest. Not just the amount of time it takes, just the mental battle. And anybody who's done it longer than, I would say, 3 months or 6 months, probably 6 months, you've got a taste of what it's like. But for me, I keep thinking about when do I say I've made it as a trader? And I would say for me, my first big level to say, okay, now I'm getting somewhere is when I break even. So what have I put into trading? I would say somewhere in the region of 12 to 15,000, something like that, including everything. Now, I built a computer. That was 1,500 with the screens and the desk and the chair, and then upgraded bits of components. I upgraded from 32 gig to 32 meg, from 16 to 32 meg. Got a new graphics card. All the evaluations, 1,000 for the license. It's a never-ending empty. You know, it's like a never-ending pot of money. Okay, so there had probably been some shorts there. It's a never-ending pot of money, and I would say when I can count everything, I've refrained from working out exactly what it's cost me because I don't want to know because I think it's going to scare me. I'd rather wait till I make about 12 to 15,000 and then I'm going to look. And in fact, I've thought about this. I'm going to make a video and I'm going to call it What It's Cost Me to Be a Trader. And I would say when I break even, so in other words, all the experience I've built up over, say, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years, if I can break even, so then I've got all this experience for free. I've got my computer, I've got my software, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this indicator, that indicator. It's all been for free. So I would say then that is the time where I will feel some form of relief and belief that, yeah, this is starting to happen now. I've actually made it all back, because I think so many people pump a load of money in it and never get it back because they give up. Okay, so there has been a little bit of news there, medium impact news, so that, I don't know whether that made, well, we're at the high at the moment for the last couple of days, so we've already had a little bit of a push above this, so that may have been a little bit of news because it was bang on when it was supposed to be. So yeah, protect, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I'm going to make a video. Actually, I've not really made a video. It's, for me, it's more about just streaming it. YouTube doesn't really interest me, but I think a lot of people, I'd love to watch that of a trader who's had a few years' experience, what it's cost them. I would love to watch a video of that. So I'm going to make one myself, and I'm going to literally write down every single thing I've bought, what it's cost me, and then what I've made so far, and hopefully the two will tally up. And that, for me, if I can make back everything, then I would say now things are going to get serious. Okay, so this is a possible second entry long. Now, for me, we've had this and we've pushed up again. We've already had a break once, so I will be interested. Short-term trend channel, break new high. I would be interested in going long off the EMA and the top of here. Now, remember I said earlier about this, there's a possibility as this is getting wider, this may end up doing something like this. Possible. So I would think about going long off here. I'm going to get rid of that. In fact, I'll leave that actually and put the midline, see if that plays a part. Possible. I don't want to get dragged into thinking about something wrong, but we've had a break, new high, a little bit of correction. We seem to be moving up again, so let's just be careful. Just this for me isn't good enough. I would prefer to come lower, but let me get an order ready just in case. So first entry, second. It is actually a failure, but that is down. I wouldn't be shocked if that comes down here and then it's just not safe enough for me. Yeah, Jonathan, I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people have been interested in that. I'd love to find out what learning to trade has cost some people, because a lot of the times we realise how much we've paid and we're like, oh my God, I must be mental. And then when you realise probably most other traders have spent way more than you have, So I think that would be an interesting read for someone I do. I'm hoping this comes down and ticks below here because, see, as I said, that would be a little bit too risky for me. But I love this 2 legs back.
Order submitted.
2 leg. If we can get bullish above this, that'd be perfect for me. I am mega interested in that. 2 legs down. Second entry right off here. Bounce. Wow. Okay. So did that drop below there, did it? Yeah, it did. There'd have been quite a few people going off there. Okay. That's made me
Order cancelled.
Wow, so there'd have been a lot of people who took that then, I'm guessing. Let me see if there's any other longs off there. Anything here, so it would have been taken out. So really, maybe there was quite a few there. As soon as it broke below here, I don't know. I mean, we're 5 minutes after this news, so I don't know. It's possible. It's possible there could have been. I mean, that is a second entry long. For me, it's just too far away from the EMA. I prefer that to be down here, so that keeps shoving over there, but I think that is one channel. So it was a failure, a long failure, which obviously trapped these traders, but we have made a new high. Now what you could say is this is like that. That's the trouble. If you get these slightly wrong, they can affect. I don't know whether it is, or I wouldn't be convinced that that is a. This to me looks like a channel. It fits in there relatively good, really. But we have made a new high. Well, it took me out quick. Yeah, that for me is just a bit risky. I like to take him. If I was going to go long, that's sort of close I'd like to be. But I love it when we sort of push right below and sit right on the edge. Okay, so yeah, I tend to avoid them if I can there. Or if there's, what I try and do is if I have any this little, you know, these feelings of something doesn't feel right, or a little bit of doubt, or a little bit of nerves. You know, when you get something going on there that you don't feel comfortable with, I think that's a good indicator to be careful. And I try and listen to that now, because this instinct, it works. Trouble with trading, as you're learning to trade, there's so many little bits of information in your brain that you've picked up, and when something doesn't feel right, I think it's good to listen to that. How you doing, mate? Roll Daddy, how you doing? Yeah, I think it's useful to listen to that. We all know what a good trade is like, because we don't even think about it, we just jump straight in. You can't get our order quick enough. So let me just see. Let's go off these first couple of swings, which is there. It's still a little bit. Could be something like that. I don't know. It's a little bit too early, but just the way we seem to keep pushing. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it is. You're right, Jonathan. Yeah. Because what I've found is whenever I lose a trade, the way I see it, there's two ways I lose a trade. One way when I think it was a genuine trade and I've been trapped, or I've lost a trade out of lack of experience. Those ones I've got no problem with, because they're a lesson, and you know in your own mind they're a lesson. But if you've been sat there for 3 hours and you're eager to make some money, and you take a trade and you just know, oof, you can feel it, can't you? But sometimes it's understanding what it is, but you can feel it. And if you take that trade, that's usually when you act out. Either that's, I think, when most counts are blown, when you take something you really know you shouldn't have done. So it's really trying to be aware of what's going on in your head, and trust in that instinct that says something doesn't feel right. But what I do is, when I have that little voice and I leave the trade and the trade would have lost, that pushes it inside that head a little bit further and tells you made a good decision. I love it when I leave a trade and it would have stopped me out. Makes you feel good. because you realise that there are other traders out there that got trapped, but you didn't. So it just does help with your psyche. Hey Toad, how you doing, mate? How you doing? Yeah. So yeah, that instinct, that sort of natural. We all have instinct, don't we? We all know when something isn't right, something doesn't feel right, and it's just adapting it to your whatever environment you're in. Unfortunately, sometimes when we have that feeling when we're younger with women, we don't listen, do we? This one spells danger, but we jump in head first, don't we? That's when our other little brain around the waistline starts to take over, isn't it? Yeah, we don't listen. Instinct doesn't cut in there, does it? So, okay, so we have had this break and a new high, but, I think you can take that or leave it. For me, I always like to err on the side of caution, but I think you could certainly open that up a little bit. And that works just as well. But I don't think it matters either way because we have had a break and we've had a new high anyway. So that channel's played out whether we include that or not. But I always like to sort of leave it where on the air of caution because it doesn't matter now anyway, really. So that's played out. So whether we will come down and start moving back up, a lot of times we will. This almost seems like sort of a little bit of a correction. So I don't know what exactly you define a correction. I mean, I know a correction is, in a lot of cases when something goes up, it can't just keep going up. It just obviously people take profits and it does a little bit of sideways, but then obviously you think, okay, we've come back here so far. Now let's get back in and push it higher. So I suppose everyone terms a correction at something different, but for me, it's we've had a relatively strong trend. Can you do that all day? It's possible. It's unlikely, but sometimes we'll have a little bit of sideways and then we'll go up again. And it's sort of safer then to get in a little bit, isn't it? So there's a first entry, possible second entry short. There could be a couple of legs down here. If you're thinking short, possible second entry short coming down. But just the way things are panning out at the moment, I still think we may go higher. So for me, if I'm unsure, let's put that there. Yeah, there could be something like that. I'll get rid of it because it's just messing the place up at the minute. But could be a bit of a correction, and then higher. But I'm unsure. So for me, I'm not thinking about taking trades. What I don't want to do is take a failure, and I've missed the second entry short, and we're moving down with another leg. Because that has played out, whether you count this or this as your break, whatever. I mean, this is really more of a break, isn't it? So something like that's possible. The trouble is, sometimes I like to put these just to see if I'm thinking on the right lines. The only trouble is, if you do, and it hasn't confirmed a downtrend, it can influence how you take your trades or how you look at the market, whichever way. If you put that there, it looks down, but I don't know, something for me is just seems like we're moving up. Let me just touch. They could run the stops here. Yeah, that's the trouble for me. Luckily, I'm of the school that I don't know whether we're going up or down at the moment. So there's a failure there, and we're also in the middle of a second entry short. So this could just be a little pullback for this short trade. And we may end up making another leg down and trap out all those. Yeah, that's the problem with taking a failure or taking trades before the too close to the EMA, because this looks to me like now like it's likely going to stop that out. I may be wrong, but it would be alarm bells for me. That's the trouble. There's so many possible traps, possible second entry long, a failure which is triggered, lower high, which looks like it's going to take out this. If it does take out this, then I would probably be inclined to think that maybe we're going to have another leg down. Or this could be one leg, two legs to retest this and push up. There's so many different scenarios. In other words, for me, it's not clear. Let's see if we push out here. Second entry long off here. That's what I mean. It's so just risky, isn't it? It's not safe to take anything really at the moment, because I'm not convinced I know where we're going. I think one of my problems is I can get too wrapped up in where I think the market... it's good to have an idea where the market's going, but it shouldn't necessarily influence your trades too much. I think knowing where the market is going is a guidance, but you still need a good setup, not just a pattern. I mean, something's telling me from what I can see, we're bullish, but we just don't know. Pushed up to the side. This could just be the top of a range, and we've just pushed up from the top at the top and coming down. But this, I would say to me, looked like there was two individual pushes down there, and same here, one leg, two leg. And I think this is going to be another leg, which is why I don't really want to get into going long there, because if you did, you got trapped. Let's see what happens here. So you can look at this two different ways, can't you? If you still think we're long, but this is a correction, you might want to go long off this. But I just don't know what it is. Market, as we know, likes to move in twos, one leg, two leg. You get a nice big bullish barge, you go long. The trouble is, that channel's played out, so we may be coming down. So you may go long, it might pop up to the EMA tick, touch it, and then come back down. As we're in the middle of this downtrend, that's the trouble. It's not clear at the moment. All that is two pushes down. It's not a channel at the moment. These are individual channels, so it's easy to get stuck. If we come up to here, it's easy to think we're in a channel and go short, and you end up getting shafted. Wow, 3,000 contracts traded. Using some form of a what's it book, are you? Have you got what's it? What's it called? Am I thinking of? Order flow. Yeah, I did think maybe of this. I forget who it is. Is it? I know there's a particular company that provide a package that a friend of mine uses. And it's free for a couple of weeks. I didn't know whether to get it and just pop it on another chart and just see if it helps me in any way, or I think I may get any benefit out of it. But the trouble is, when you're focusing your eyes on this, looking to the left sort of 12 inches onto another chart is sometimes it may confuse the matter. I don't know, but it'd be interesting just to maybe one afternoon when I finish trading, just jump onto a demo and just compare the two and see if it. Well, I'm thinking more if it saves my arse a couple of times on a trap, because being still a relatively inexperienced trader, I still get trapped from time to time. So I'm trying to work on that when areas are a little bit unsure. just to stay out of the way. So whether it would help with that, I think the thing is with order flow, you can see where I believe I've not used it, so I don't know, but I believe you can see where there are possible large buyers or sellers ready in the market, and maybe if I'm thinking about going long and there's a stack of sellers there, then maybe it not might be the wisest decision. That's what I believe, although I've never used it, so I might be a little bit off par there. Okay, let's just pop this back, see if this is making any sense. Yeah, it's not still really confirmed. It's only touched it once on this back side and twice here, so that's the trouble. If you have two touches, you can. I mean, you could sort of. Yeah, I mean, you could say it's this, couldn't you? This is our trend. That's the trouble with two touches. It doesn't mean anything, does it? So I try not to influence my trading by putting channels in too soon. Okay, short-term trend channel break. Expect a new low, but I do like the look of this one leg, two leg. So maybe it's going to bounce from here and push up higher. And as I mentioned earlier, this may end up being something of a wider. It's certainly getting close, isn't it? Let's have a look. Oh, there you go. You could probably incorporate that. So it could end up being something like that. But until we bounce here maybe a couple of times and push up some more, you can't really count it. So for me at the moment, things do seem to be going down, but maybe they're going down one leg, two legs to here, and then we're going to push up some more, or we actually maybe moving down. So that's why I don't tend to put those. For me, it's a little bit uncertain at the moment what's going on. Just volume indicator. Okay. Book map. Yeah, there's a few of them, isn't there? Book map. What's the one my mate uses? Oh dear. What is it? Is it Gomez? Is it Gomez? Something like that. Gomez or something. That rings a bell. Another trader, pal of mine, that I chat with from time to time. He used that for a while. I think he's moved on to those ones that sort of all got nice and neat. I forget what they're called. Okay, let's have a look at this. Yeah, see at the moment, this, although it's not a fantastic range, in fact, it might not really even be a range. But if it is, this could just sort of be a break out of it. Have a look at that. Now, I've been caught on these before by not drawing that tight. So look, okay. Right, okay. So I got caught on these a few weeks ago. I had this and it incorporated this, and we'd already had a break. And I got stuffed, so I tend to draw them as tight as I can fit them now. So for me, that's had a bit of a break and a new low, although this is more of a convincing break. But that's actually made a new low, is it? I'm liking this. And judging by the way this is bouncing off here, I'd say it's possibly likely we're going to come down to here, but I don't know what's going on at the moment. Okay, that is finished. Nice. Fact. Right to the top, right to the bottom. Okay, that's touched there, right to the nearest tick. So that might be an area where some might think about going long. I don't know what's going on at the moment, so I won't be getting into this because I think it's a bit risky. So yeah, we've had this break, new high. So this may be part of a downtrend. Yeah, that's why I didn't take that one, because it's just triggered above and just stuffed you. That's the trouble when you. That's why I tend to not pick bottoms now. Even if that would have been a little bit more bullish, I wouldn't have picked it, even if we had two legs, because I just don't know. I'd say at the moment, from what I'm seeing, market's starting to move down, but and a lot of cases, what it'll do, because it wasn't a decent bullish bar, it'll tick up, trigger you out, push down below here, push back up, nice and bullish, and rock it up. So it is frustrating sometimes to trade. But I'm starting to think now maybe this might be a bit of a channel. But it's still a little bit too early to assume. Let's have a look what we put leaves at. 4010 is a key pivot for going higher. 4010. It's about where this measured leg is, somewhere around here, but I don't know what we're doing at the moment. Thing is, when you have a big push like this and a bit of this, you tend to think it's going to do it again, and that may be the case, but you just don't know. I've spent so much of my time thinking, okay, I'm looking for longs here, I'm looking for longs here, I'm looking for longs, and what I'm missing right in front of my eyes is the picture going down, so I'm very cautious with that. For at the moment, we're getting lower highs and the opposite, so for me, at the moment, market's going down. EMA's clearly facing down. We've clearly played out there, so I'm just cautious at the moment. Okay. You count that as a new high, you recount that as a possible second entry long. Trouble is, you're picking a bottom again, because there's nothing along here really that will give you any indication we might be bouncing off something. So that again is picking a bottom, and these I have had so much trouble with, so I just leave them now. Although it's a lovely bullish bar, but it's too dangerous. It's in the middle of nowhere really. It's floating in the middle of nowhere. And we had the same somewhere here, didn't we? Forget what it was now, which I left. And it would have stopped you out. Yeah, that's gonna, there we go. See, if you'd have taken that one, that's the problem. And see this one here, if you'd have taken that one, thinking we've had these, we've had a measured leg down, or we've had a break out of this channel, ticked up once, came, stopped you out, same again. Recount this one, second entry long, ticked, came back, stopped you out. You've got to be so careful of these areas, which is why there's two perfect examples of why I don't pick tops and bottoms anymore. Now, if we'd pushed up here 3 times, perfectly finished on that line with a big bearish pin bar, then that might be a top that I would pick. But picking something because I think this is where it's gonna bounce off and move higher, I just don't do anywhere, because they just don't help me. That's one of my weaknesses. Ask my wife, I haven't got many. She thinks I'm perfect. No, she doesn't actually. Yeah, so that may be possibly moving down. It's hard to say at the moment, but we've touched here. It seems to be we're getting sort of lower lows, or lower highs, higher lows. I keep getting confused when I'm saying that. Lower highs. There we go. So let's see what happens here. If we continue now to bounce here and move down, then I'm thinking, yeah, we're moving down now. But this could be a correction, a couple of pushes out, and then pushing higher, as I've mentioned earlier. Now, I'm going to have to stop doing this at some point. Yeah, could be something like that. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Not convinced. Let's get rid of that. I don't really think this is I don't think I need that really, because we've had this break, new high, and now we seem to be pushing down. So I don't think I need that. I'm hoping we get maybe a second entry here, which I think would interest me. We do seem to be moving down. I don't think we can disagree there. After this, whether you call that a break and a new high, or that's more the convincing break, either way, either one, we've clearly played that out. So maybe we will get a second entry here. Yeah, the reason I got rid of that range, because it doesn't look like it's a range. And the trouble is, if you have a range there, it is possible this could just be a breakout and it push back in. But to me, there's no range there. We've just had this break and a new high, and now we've come down. So for me, okay, let's see if we can get a second entry short here. I would like this.
Order submitted.
This feels nice. I prefer another little bar up here, and then to close, then we would have one leg and two legs. But I prefer that to finish on its high and another little push, and then come down and close below the EMA. That's perfect. Now we get up here if we can. I like the fact that that's closed higher. Hopefully it won't be a big risk. Let's bring that down there a bit, ready. So definitely a possible second entry short. That's still good. I'd rather tick higher. I don't want to come lower. Keep pushing up. Go on. Get up. Break above the other one. Go on. Go on. Get up. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay. 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 Possible. Let's see if this traps anybody. Possible failure. Okay, we bounced off the key entry point. Okay, this is sort of visually two pushes up, one push up, two pushes up. Hopefully it'll trap some of them. Let's see how this finishes. see, I'd rather, okay. See, I'd rather put my order below there just in case. Let's see if it breaks below there. Okay.
Order
It's
filled.
broke below. Okay. I'm okay with that. A little bit bigger risk than I'd have liked. But that was a failure, which triggered. That's bearish off the key entry point. So for me, it's okay. It's not the clearest. It's more of a one leg, two leg. It's more of a visual push off. Let's put this down here somewhere. I'd have preferred to got a little bit closer. Not a fan of that little doji there, but I think we're okay.
Order filled.
Okay, we broke the lows anyways. That was 275. That was all right. It may go lower, but I just wanted to get it into the lows, so that's okay. So let's have a look at this now. What is this exactly? So here's a new low. So that would be the second entry. Okay, so it's almost like a third entry, isn't it? But the way I see this is, I'm looking at the tops as well. So we pushed down to a new low. We've tried to go up once. We've tried to go up twice, and we've failed below the EMA. Not only that, there's a a short failure which has been triggered, which is why I came down here. And for me, this is a trend. It's at the key entry point, and it's below the EMA. So for me, it was more, I don't know, what do you guys think? What was that trade? Well, for me, yeah, we've pushed up once and we've pushed up a second time. Market likes to move in twos, one leg up, two legs up. I would say there's a short failure which is triggered, which may trap some longs, which is why I went short there. And it pushed down and gave us a couple of points. Indy, thanks. Now you could look at that. Now sometimes this is visual, but not only do we count from the bottoms, we count from the tops as well. So we got a new low, so we try to go higher once, we try to go higher twice, and for me that was an okay trade. It depends how you look at things sometimes, but for me that was more visual. But I was more interested in the fact that may trap some longs, thinking of going higher. But I'll tell you what I'm seeing here. This is a trend channel coming down. We've had this trend channel up. We've had a break and a new high coming down. And if you look, we got this. We got a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Two pushes up. And for me, it was worth taking it down to the bottoms. So I don't know how you feel about that. Or how risk averse you are. But for me, I just like where it finished. I like the fact that we'd possibly trapped some longs. And it was two legs up, one leg, two legs up to the key entry point, closed below. For me, that was a way down. So I got, what was that? Let's just check everything shut out. Yeah, 2.75 points. Okay, so that was more of a visual thing, but one leg, two legs. We had two pushes up. So I thought that was okay. Now, it's certainly a little bit more risky than most, but you're either very, very safe and you take very little, or you may be up to a little bit of risk. And at the moment, all I've seen is this big trend. We've clearly had a break, and we've had strong push up for a new high. We're trying to go higher once again. Big bearish bar, and from then on, we're moving down. So whether we'll push back up, I don't know. But this, I think it was worth just coming down, which is why I literally waited right down the bottom and jumped straight out there. So I came out here, which just broke the new lows. And then that's all I'm interested in doing. Getting out straight. Yeah, I don't think it was a bad trade. It was certainly, was it a high probability trade? I think it was the highest probability trade, but you've got to count the tops as well. One push up, we come back and we have another push up. So for me, that was 2 legs. We broke higher, which means we triggered the possible short failure. See that rejected right up like that. I'll be surprised if there wasn't quite a few traders in there, and it ticked above, came straight back down. I would have preferred, in fact, if you remember, I actually took it below here, just to be sure that we hit any possible stops. So if you look at my order, that's where I came in there, which is probably about a tick below here. I would prefer to be on the area of safety. The trouble is, if it is a failed second entry short, then it could still pull back and still push higher. But if it breaks that, then it's taken out any possible people that were trapped to higher. And then for me, it was worth at least taking it down the bottom. So it depends. It's not everyone's cup of tea, that one, but we'll see. So I know Nicholas hasn't said anything. I've not said nothing, Nick. He's like probably tearing his hair out, but I don't know. Okay, so we've had this channel. See, it has been sort of confirmed there once, twice. Started it maybe. Let's have a look. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I thought it was worth a go. We're clearly making lower lows, lower highs, high lows. Yeah, so DBK, what was that trade? That's what I'm seeing. 1 leg, 2 leg. Key entry point broke below. It was the trap that interested me a little bit more. If it wasn't for the sake of the trap, then I may have let that alone. But once it broke down there, I'm thinking new low. So there you go. Hate me if you like. You can join the queue behind my wife. Okay, so we've had a break here. Let's see what happens. See if we come down here. Trouble is, sometimes as we're reading these, we're making very, very quick decisions, aren't we? Is it a good trade? Is it not a trade? And sometimes I think a lot of it is to do with a little bit of experience and maybe something visually that tells you. I mean, you've heard the expression, it was a visual second entry long, and for me, it was a push up, pull back, another push up, finished below the EMA, where I expected it to touch, which it did. And it came down. Now, I was looking to drop my order in it, and I dropped it in just below here, just in case, because if it, on the failure, it could. There's no setup here anyway to go short. What was I saying? But yeah, I mean, if that's a failure, it could still pull back before it pushes higher. But the fact that it's dropped below there was the fact that then got me interested. Yeah, so, I mean, you may see this as a bit of a range, but for me, it's not. Sometimes you can draw these patterns, but when you think about it, they're not really. It's not really a range, so it's touching there, but you know what I mean? There's nothing there, really. There's nothing there, so I don't know. I mean, you may say that, well, the tops, they don't really. They'll touch in different places, so that's the bit that I got rid of, because I'm thinking, if I come down here, if I've got this range in, then I may be thinking that maybe we should go higher, not down. But for me, as we've had this break and a new high, things are down for me. So I'm just trading as I'm seeing it, and things are clearly down. Okay, so this is a break. Let's see what happens here. See if this breaks up. Trouble is, we've had a short-term trend channel there. But we have had one here where we've had a break. So that's the trouble sometimes. If you look at that, where do you take this? If you look at that, in fact, you could probably say, yeah, it's hard to say really. I mean, that's done anyway. See if this ticks above, comes down, but I'm not sure about this. I mean, it doesn't. For this one's ticked a bit higher than that. See if this comes down now. So trouble with the short-term trend channel break, you expect a new high, so I don't like to just assume we're coming straight down. Short-term trend channel there, but I would think that is a bit of a break and a new low, so that would probably play out. So let's have a look. One leg, two leg. See if this ticks higher. You know, what excites me most of all at the moment is seeing those numbers the same, because this, I don't know whether it's me or not, but I seem to have so many problems with this trade copy. But I think what it is, you just have to get used to the fact that sometimes these figures are differently. So what I try and do now is just be aware of, after the trade's finished, if there's anything left in these boxes. And if they do, you just got to right click and close them down. And I think that's part and parcel of trading with the trade copier. It's not without its problems. But I think if you want to use them, and to be honest with you, to earn decent money, you need multiple accounts, in my opinion. You got 10 accounts, you could trade one contract on each if you want. So the risk's low and you can still earn a lot of money. So I think getting used to the issues with the trade copy is part of it, I think. Okay, one leg up, two legs up. fact, I'm just wondering whether this is a bit of a spiking channel. Let's have a look. Yes, that would actually work better. Go from here, maybe a bit of a spiking channel. Touch, 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 touch. I think that probably would be a little bit better, actually. I think I did a measured leg, which is, yeah, okay. We've got a break out of here. Just see if we've had a anything from Mac yet. Yes, we have. Not okay, let's have a look at Mac's. Let's see what he's given us today. Mac's actually got it to here. Mac's got his to here. Let's have a look at the channel. Yeah, he's got that channel exactly the same. In fact, he's got that pulling down a bit to there. Okay, Mac's is exactly the same. Yeah, okay, Mac's is the same. Its only difference is Mac's got his here like that. And he's closed that there, which personally, obviously at the time, that's what he'd have seen. But for me now, I'd say this is probably lightly a spiker channel, which is fitting much better. So I say this is our break. Unfortunately, there's no way down for a new low. That's the bloody annoying thing is. You may have took that, but to be fair, that to me is picking a top because it could tick below, push a bit higher, and then come back down. Yeah, Matt's got his to here, but his price action finishes here. So now we've had this touch and 3 nice touches down the bottom. I would say that is more like a spiking channel, and that fits perfectly for me. So, but yeah, Mac's gone from here, but at the time, the price action for Mac is here at the moment. The way we've had this, and also these touches down here, that actually fits better to me. So that's all good. See, Mac does this every day, doesn't he? I wish he'd maybe give a little bit more sometimes. I wish he'd maybe mark some trades that he took. I don't know. Sometimes you want to sort of get in the head of the master, don't you? But I suppose he does it for a reason. One leg down, maybe another leg down. Who knows? I just want to be careful here because we're getting close to the bottoms. Okay, so we've had this new high. We've had a breakout of the channel, new high, push strongly. Just a little bit nervous about going short. Just this. That's a little bit far away from me, and just make me a bit nervous. That does. And when I am up, I try and be a little bit extra cautious. I would prefer that push through there and close here before I think about taking it down a little bit more. Let me have a bigger picture. Okay. Yeah, it's a lower high. It's just a little bit too far away from the MA to be for me. And also with that, there's 3 bars stacked, and we know there are all 3 more bars. Just be aware. I wouldn't be shocked if that tick below pushed higher. I would prefer this sitting under there or that body before I think about it. And there's not a massive amount of room to the lows, really. Even if you took that, the lows, what is there? It's 1.5 to the lows. So there's not enough room, really, for me to be comfortable that we're going to get us another push down. But there is a leg. And if we had another leg, that would bring us down to around about here. But yeah, it's not pushing down as comfortably as I think it would. It's getting a little bit congested there, which that is saying to me just be careful. I wouldn't be shocked if that ticked above it, which then would be a second entry short. But yeah, it's just a little bit congested. Yeah, definitely congested now. If I was in that trade, I'd be a little bit concerned. Ah, 4019, another area to watch. Above Shunt Strip. 4019. Okay. This is our second leg. Yeah, I mean, it would have been okay, that one, but we have had a new low here, so there's not a massive amount of distance to the bottom, see, that's the trouble. That's the trouble. Sometimes you take that, it drops down pretty quick and then pushes back up. Not a massive amount of room to the bottom. That's the problem. What have you got there? Yeah, you've got 2.25 points in it. 2.5 points, maybe a squeeze. Okay, so that channel is now technically played out. Uh, right, possible second entry shorted. The only trouble is that channel has had a break and it's played out, so I can't really go short there. It's just risky. It may go down, possibly will, but if it does, second entry short, I just can't bring myself to take it. In fact, there's a possibility that could be like that. Break, new low. Yeah, I'd like to think there will be another leg down, but I just don't think I could bring myself to go short there at the moment. It's tempting, but that bar there, even if it finishes bearish, is right in the middle of there, sat right on top of that midline. So I just think that's risky, personally. This is played out. We could be doing this, so it doesn't finish anyway, so it's all good. Oh, dear me. In fact, I didn't reload my historic data. Okay, possible failure. Fail second entry short. See if it does go higher. Okay, that fell second entry short is triggered. I'm just not sure what's going on here at the moment. That break, and it's played out. So this downward channel, it's had a break. Two pushes down to a new low. So we seem to be moving up. Whether we're just going to have a couple of pushes up and then come down again, I don't know. It's not very clear at the moment. Bit of a gap there, actually. That came down quite quick. Possible triple test. And I'd say there's probably going to be some longs there. I'd say there's probably going to be some longs there. So that triple test. Trouble is, I'm not a massive experienced person at triple tests, so I'm going to leave this alone. 1, 2, 3. But if that came down and broke below here, it also broke below that failure. Plus, that's a second entry long, so it's second entry long triggered, and you could see why it's feasible, why there might be some longs in that trade, and it may go up anyway, but there's a failure there, and there may be some people triggered there, and the failure, and the second entry long, some trades triggered there. So I'd set this with longs in this area here. So whether it'll come down and take them, I don't know, but it's not something I'm a massive fan of triple tests at the moment. I've not played around with them so much, so I tend to leave them alone. I think they're maybe for a bit more experienced traders. So. Okay, one leg, that will be where the second leg comes to. So whether that does indeed start to move up, or whether it's having another few goes at getting higher and it comes down. So I don't know at the moment. It's not clear to me. I don't think there's any type of a range there. No. Okay, he's touched on that second leg. One leg, two legs. See what happens here. See whether it continues up, pulls back in, carries on, or whether it now starts to move down. Okay. Still not too clear. This could be a move out here. I mean, this has played out. We've had a break. We've had a low. Pushed up above the EMA, bounced up some more. So it's a bit still uncertain at the moment as to what is going on. Hmm. Found, okay, that's blown that idea. We had a touch there. We had a touch there. Thoughts if it's closer below there. You make all if that closes below bearish, you make all that triple test. Not something I want to get into. Just not a fan of these, I've got to say. I mean, if we have this and we went up once, two, three times, then I'll be thinking, yeah, we're going down. But as we've already played this channel out, I can't be thinking about this at the moment. Things may come down, but at the moment they seem to be pushing up. I mean, this may I don't know, may play a part later in the day if this carries on up here again and down here again and here again. So maybe a bigger overall trend, but push up, break new high, push down, break new low. Mm. Yeah, it's gone a little bit sideways, isn't it? A bit slow, rather. Sorry, sideways. Lag's high, isn't it? About the highest I've ever seen it. Mm. Come on, speed up, do something. Speedy, speedy, come on. Anybody taking any trades yet? Anybody up? Anybody down? I should do one of those polls, shouldn't I? I don't even know how to do them, actually. Yeah, sometimes those polls just get annoying, don't they? Not a huge amount, anyway, is there? It is slow, isn't it? It's just like, okay. Mind you, you get a load of, don't a lot of the institutional guys go out for lunch. Why would you want to go out for lunch when there's all this money to be made? God, I struggle to drag myself off to go to the toilet. I don't want to miss anything. I suppose it's different, isn't it? I'm assuming these guys, these big institutional traders, are earning a nice living anyway, aren't they? It's not all about being stuck at your computer. Sometimes you've got to wait and get. It does seem a bit flat, doesn't it? I just think it's, well, for me, it's in an area that it doesn't know. People are okay. So, do I want to get involved in this? Well, not really. See, at the moment, we're pushing up here, but are we coming down? Are we going up? It's just not very clear at the moment, is it? We've had this push up, break new high, push down, break new low, push up, break new high. What are we doing? Are we in a bigger trend? Uptrend is possible. It could be in a bigger upper trend, or we might be in a range. It's just not very clear, is it? And when things aren't very clear, what do? We sit our hands. So we're not the only ones sat on our hands. Hence the saying, sitting on your hands. In other words, not doing anything. It's boring as arse, isn't it? To be honest with you, it's like this. Well, I suppose at least I can't moan. I'm up, can't I? Even if it does this for another hour or so, at least I know I can finish. That's what I like about getting green on your first trade when you have a winning trade. At least you know then you've sort of almost. I mean, it's nice to have a couple of trades if you can, but at least I'm not under sort of any pressure to try and get a trade today. Not that we should have pressure on me. So that's why I'm not a big fan of setting targets. I would say setting limits. Yeah, I would say limit yourself maybe to 2 or 3 trades a day and then finish. But I'm not a fan of having a target of say 2 trades, because the trouble is if you've not taken any, then as the day moves on, you might feel the pressure to want to get something. I think it's a good idea to have limits. Maybe if you can get to 500 a day, then finish for the day, go home. Or if you can hit 2 green, 2 good trades, 2 winning trades, then maybe finish. But I'm not a fan of aiming for a specific target, because we can only really take what the market gives us. It's not like we have a lot of control over what comes next. We have no control really. All we can do is wait to see the setups and the patterns that we know to be what we believe to be good, and then take what the market gives us. But apart from that, we don't have a lot of control. Well, very little actually. In fact, no control really, do we? I can't influence the market trading two PA accounts, can I? Especially as these are only really demo ones anyway. But... Okay, so we're clearly in this bit of a channel here, so let's see if maybe we can break and bounce off here somewhere. Don't get too used to the toilet until you make 2 green trades. I know. I'm not too bad now, but I know there was a time when not long after I started, I was stuck at this screen about 7 hours a day. I just didn't want to leave. I just thought, people go on about screen time. I might have been a bit OTT with 7-8 hours a day, but sometimes if I couldn't sleep, I'd get out and watch the market, and that's when you realise you're desperate, isn't it? When you sat watching the market at night. You get about sort of 6 hours of movement and about a dozen candles. But I mean, screen time. Some people say, I know a couple of people said to me, how much time should I do? I said, well, if you're on a demo account, do as much as you can. Obviously, when you're earning money and you have the stresses a little bit, then obviously it's good to limit it to a degree, but obviously screen time is important. It is important to have as much, this is a numbers game really, isn't it? The more screen time you have, generally, the better you get at it. So I say to people, if anybody asks me, if you're on a demo and you're learning, I'd say just put in as many hours as you can. The more you sit at this screen, the more you'll start to get a feel for what's happening, the more you'll notice patterns, you'll notice areas where you've been trapped before. Okay, possible second entry along this. Something about this I just don't like, though. I don't know what it is, but usually we'll have a break and a new high, but I just don't like how we've pushed down 4 points like quite strongly like that. Let's have a look. 4.25 points. Do you watch some trader YouTubers at night? Yeah, I'm always watching something or reading something. I know it gets on my daughter's head. I mean, we were away. We've been away for a long weekend, and I was on the way down there. I was watching someone trade. On the way back, I was watching someone trade. And when I'm in my bed at night, sometimes I will be watching videos or this, that, and the other. So I know sometimes my wife's not so bad. She knows it takes time. She's backing me. But sometimes I've got a 14-year-old daughter. Sometimes she can like, God, you're always looking at trading. She thinks it's like a hobby. Well, I'm like, well, it's not. This is a business. This is something I want to do for a living. So I have to invest time into it. So I only hope that when I start to make some decent money out of it, I can reward her a little bit, and she might get it. Okay, that was a second entry long off the key entry point. Something I didn't like about that big, strong red bar which finished on its low. I mean, it was a second entry long, but I don't know. Sometimes you get these things that happen and they just make you a little bit nervous. I would sort of much prefer a couple of legs, really. Not just one. See the way it's doing this, it's making me nervous as well. See, this could almost be a little bit of a range, so I have to be aware of that. It might not be a range so much at the bottom, but the top, it's definitely using this line as something, isn't it? There you go. See, that's a fair. Let's see if that triggers below. Okay, that's triggered. So there's a failed second entry long, which is triggered. The trouble is, when it's something like this, I only like to get in where their stops are. But the problem with that, I have only got probably a 1.5 left at the top. So sometimes when you get these big sweeping moves, I try to get. It's a little bit congested and a little bit. I'm unsure what's going on here. See, if I'd have been in this trade now, I'd have had my probably target up here, and I wouldn't have come out now. I'd still be in it. So I'd be sweating about now. Because if this does tick below there, I'd say there could be a fair few long traders in there. But this could be a double trap. It might trigger these, stop these out, or it might pick up these failed second entry long traders and stop them out. I'm quite happy not being in a trade at the moment. I mean, we've clearly got a channel up here, which is at a break. And when we get a break, generally we make a new high, pretty regular. So let's see if this is a high or low. The bit that still makes me nervous is this, the failure. The only way I'd be interested in a trade is above that, but the trouble is there isn't a lot of space at the top, so this can just be, you gotta be careful. And I'm quite pleased I'm identifying areas like this that I need to stay out, because out of experience, I've got stuck in it. Now, the way this seems to be curling around, I'd say that trade may be safe, but there is still this, so it's an area of uncertainty, and obviously we're never 100% certain, but we're pretty confident when you get a good trade that it's going to win. And a lot of these trades can be 95, 98%. A lot of the good trades. So there is quite a bit of certainty when you do take a trade. But areas like this, where we've had this little bit of sideways and we've had a quick strong, it's that bit that made me nervous. If we'd have had a bit of a stagger down and we'd have broken below, and I much prefer these bars to trade off than these. These make me nervous when you get these big solid bars. This is the type of trade I like to take. See, apart from there, let's think that was evil. That's a nice place to take a trade when the sellers push it down and then the buyers take over and push it up. It obviously requires a lot more buying pressure. So when we have something like this, after this, it just makes me nervous. And when you get them feelings, I think it's good to listen to them. If we can get above here, then I'd say then we're going to make a new high, because I'm almost certain there's going to be some failure, long failures, traders trap there. And also as well, there is a possibility that there could be a little bit of a range there. The bottoms don't look so rangy, but it has got the hints of a range. Certainly the tops that's got me a little bit nervous about these. Bounce, bounce, bounce. The tops look like it could be a range. This could be like a failed breakout coming in, but I don't think it is. Once we get this above here, then I think we'll make our new high. There's our high there. One more tick. There we go. Okay, I'd say almost definitely we're going to make this high now. There may even be some shorts in there, but I definitely think there was a few longs there. This will be our new high now. So it did work, but this big, strong bar made me nervous because normally when something breaks, people are looking to go long, and something just sold off there quickly. And then we had this. I don't like when you get these full bars, especially followed by one of those. It's surprising what people do for trading. I got a friend of mine who takes, what does he take? Beta blockers or something like that. No, he takes something to slow his heart down. What is it? What does he do? He told me actually. I'm sure he takes. Well, I don't know what you call them in the US. I know we call them beta blockers over here. They're designed to lower your heart rate, and I think he takes some of those. It's amazing what people do. Try and control their emotions. But I just think that I just call it commitment. Put it that way, you'd be willing to try anything. I know when I used to go to the gym years ago, sometimes I'd have these moments of being can't be arsed or lazy, so I used to take Pro Plus, which were caffeine tablets. And I did have a guy come over to me once and said, "Mate, you're all right. You are grinding your teeth." So sometimes these tablets you can take for extra performance or to calm your performance can be a bit counterproductive. Yeah, no, I won't tell his name for fair, but I know sometimes he said sometimes he'll lay on his bed on mushrooms just to try and chill him out and get out of there. I mean, I experimented with stuff like that on occasion when I was younger, but not for 25 years. But yeah, it chills him out sometimes. You only drink. Just shock. Yeah, well, I'm quite a single malt fan actually, so I like. I'll have just a small shot with. I mean, it has massive health benefits. I'm getting a bit health interested in health a little bit more as I'm getting a little bit older. And the green juices and the smoothie and stuff. And I know whiskey actually has surprisingly has massive health benefits, cancer fighting properties, all that sort of stuff. I mean, taking in moderation. I think a shot a day, not a bottle a week or something. But I know what he does to chill himself out. He lays on his bed and knocks back some mushrooms. Never quite agreed with me, those, I've got to say. I had a bad experience on them once about 25 years ago, and that put me off the idea, but yeah. You got to have your things. You got to let your hair down, haven't you? But yeah, I have just a whiskey or two every other night or something like that, just to chill me out at the end of the day. But we all got to relax somehow. I tend to fish a little bit sometimes, go a bit fishing, sometimes throughout the summer, just to get some sort of R&R. Okay, yeah, so if you'd have taken that one, depending on where you've had your stop, you'd have certainly got a few points out of it. But just something around here didn't tickle my fancy, so to speak. You'd have got 3 points out of that. But look at that. It hasn't made a new high and come down strongly. So at the moment, it's just a little bit unpredictable, which tells me that maybe the tops of this is acting like a bit of a range. I don't know. I'm just wondering whether that could just be a couple of legs. And then higher. No, I don't think it is it? Maybe. Or maybe this is a little bit of a range at the top. That I would sort of add a little bit more faith in, rather than the bigger picture, because we pushed up, come back in, and pushed up again, and come back in. And I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't look like a range, that part. I get the tops do a little bit, but okay, maybe this is a way up. Same again, risky. It could trigger you and stop you out. It's a little bit unpredictable. Hey Chad, how you doing? Ah, there's another one, Indy as well. I've just read yours, of course I have. Chad, a good thing to have is the open lines. Is that doing it right? Open at the open lines. Oh, you mean this? That's what you mean, isn't it? The open there, yeah? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I think that's what you mean. Levels. That's where the market opened. I have that down here. I think that's what you mean, bud. Good thing to have is the open lines. I would say so. Yeah, what I tend to do when I sort of open my chart, I always sort of have the highs. Well, you call these overnight highs, but obviously we've pushed comfortably up there. But I always usually have a line for the open. I have the low of the day, and usually I have any. I mean, we're higher than we were yesterday. I have yesterday's lows just in case they play a part. And I think that's what you mean, bud. And I just tend to have those sort of important areas where they may come into play. Maybe an area where markets might head to or bounce off. No. That is the overnight open, but the official open at 9:30, which was where it's about 1:30. I think it was about here. Oh, you have those? No, I don't really have those. Official market was about here, I think. Which sort of where we sort of came to. I mean, we've certainly been above it now, but it's just I'm unsure what's going on here. We had this channel and we had a break and we never made a new high, which is telling me maybe we're ranging a bit. It's a bit unpredictable at the moment. I'm not sure. I'm not comfortable with going high or low at the moment, going up or down at the moment. There is a second entry long off here, but it's in the middle of nowhere, really, isn't it? And that got stopped out anyway. Ooh, big push down there. Okay, so there we go. There's our new low. So that was a long way around getting a new low. Oh no, tell a lie. We had a new low, didn't we? Sorry, my mistake. Short-term trend channel break new low. Let's see what happens now. If this bounces off here, then I'd say, yeah, there's a possibility. Then I'm thinking maybe range. Let's put that to there. Let's if this does bounce off here, then I'd say, yeah, okay, I'm thinking range at the moment. Certainly from... I think I'd be silly to deny that, I think. Let me just get rid of this. Let's see in a bit. Yeah, let's come down a tick. Okay, we touch there to the tick, touch there to the tick. We've pushed above it and bounced again and pushed down strong. We bounced right off that bottom there. But it's really only the second time we've made it so after the new low, so it's not somewhere where you could safely trade from. It's possible you could. Actually, it touched once, touched twice. It actually touches once, twice, three times there. So, and actually there. So that probably would be a better option. Okay, so looks like we're in a range at the moment. To be honest with you, it was going slow and it was getting a little bit unpredictable. And in some cases, when it does that, it tends to just go sideways. Oh, Also, I need to be aware as well, that's a new low. But it has closed above this line, although it's ticked below it. I'll be very careful going along here. Okay, we got a little channel down here, got a break, and an equal low. Yeah, see, something's just telling me bearish at the moment. It's just a little bit, there's a bit of uncertainty. Okay, I think it's likely we'll get a new low here. There we go. Okay, so we've had a little channel there. We've had a break. 2 pushes down to a new low. Okay. What's going to happen now then? Are we going to continue down or are we going to pull back here? Things are just looking bearish at the moment for me for some reason. Down, a little bit of correction, down again. Yeah, see, officially, let me have a look at this. So it's all right. Chaz just sent me the chart talking about the official open. So for me, let me just have a look. Let's get rid of that. Where's the ray? Horizontal line. There we go. Okay, so that is the open for. Right, so let's have a look. Let's make that a bit darker. Okay, so is that 130? I'm gonna look so I can move it, see if it shows me. Doesn't, does it? Hold on. Yeah, see, at the moment, 1:30 UK time, which is you've gone an hour ahead, which is 9:30. So that is where the official market opened. Okay, so it could be anywhere in that bar. So if we draw this, so Chad mentioned that this line can play a part. So let's call that right in the middle there somewhere. Yeah, is that about right? Okay, let's pop that in, see if it does play a part, because I'm always willing to something bright. I'm always willing to try something new or to add extra. See if that looks any good. Actually, let's make it green. That's a little bit clearer, isn't it? There's the greens. There we go. Yeah, let's go with the green. Okay, so also let's make it a load of dots. Okay, yeah, so Chad mentioned that sometimes where the market opens can play a part as well. So trouble is, where does the market open? Somewhere in that bar there, doesn't it? So let's assume it opened towards the bottom of the bar. And if that's the case, then see, obviously it played a part here. It ticked here, a couple of bodies here. So that would make sense. Let's extend that. Okay, so it's not very bright actually. Let's make it a bit bigger. 3. That's a bit better. Okay. We still needs to be a bit different colour, isn't it? So let's say that is the official market open. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. Any more bits of information? I've not come across it before. I've not heard Mac mention it, but it's not to say it doesn't play a part. I mean, straight away, it's funny that those two bars closed on it. And there's a touch of the body there, and that bar there touched on it, and that one there did. So it obviously seems to be playing some form of something, and anything which may turn the market or slow the market down is worth having on your chart. So okay, so there it is. Right, I'm still not sure what's going on here. We've had the short and trend channel breaking low. You could call that hidden failed signature short, but as this channel's already played out, I'm a little bit unsure as to what to do here. I don't want to go short because at the moment this is seeming like a bit of a channel, and if it is, I don't want to be going short into the bottom of it, so I'm just going to sit tight. And see what happens. Well, you could open this up a bit, but that for me touches perfectly there, I like how that fits, and that to me is a clear break, and that is clear. 2 pushes down to a new low, and the reason that I'm thinking range is because it's touching nicely here, and we had a big strong bullish bar which came straight back in. Yeah, so I shall incorporate that for a few days or a couple of weeks and see if it plays a part. If you think it does, then I'd say I'm not going to disbelieve you. If you use it, I mean, it's always good to have extra bits of information on there. It may, I don't know, does it even come with the? Does it even come with? Because I know you can go into the settings, can't you? And you can have all listing. I just like to mark them myself. I think Ninja Trader has an indicator current day over here. That will show that. Yeah, okay. I like to put my own lines in and thicker some of them. It just makes me more aware of them. I know sometimes they'll come with them, but they'll follow them up at a funny angle. I'm not a fan of them, I got to say, which is why I tend to draw the official days open or the official market open from yesterday after the short shutdown, overnight lows, normally overnight highs, but where do you finish with overnight highs and daily highs? See, your overnight highs are the middle of the afternoon for me, but I tend to like to put my own things in. I do, and I've got the yesterday's lows down there just in case they play a part. But it does seem to me we've had this push down, break new low, we've had another break. It does seem bearish to me, but not enough for me to get involved. It's part of Mac's toolkit. Oh, is it really? Okay. That's what I was thinking about. Let's have a look. Let's move this over. So it's part of that one. Right, I haven't got it at the moment. It's here somewhere. It is there somewhere. Why haven't I got it? Sure it's not part of that one. No, it's not, is it? Why haven't I got it on there? Strange. I used to have it. There it is. Yeah, okay. The trouble with this, I find these quite confusing, just how they fall and they follow things up. I'll spend a little bit more time actually looking into it, but no one really explains how they work. I know they have the open, the close, and that, but let's just get rid of the moment so it doesn't confuse me. But cancel it. Yeah, I tend to put my own in. Some people don't use them, some do. But sometimes the way they just follow up like that, I don't like it. Okay, so I wonder if this is a bigger chart. Possible, but just something about it I don't like. Okay, possible second entry short. I'm still not a fan of trading into the bottom of this because it's clearly playing a part. And it does seem like it's ranging, so I think it, although I do think it's coming down, I just personally just think that's a little bit risky. Because it's pushed up and bounced straight off this. It's come down and bounced off this. Yeah, it's broken through it, but look how strongly it's pushed back in. I mean, this may be a bigger, maybe something like that. Actually fits quite nice at the bottoms there, but I'm just not convinced at the moment. And if I'm not sure, I'd rather err on the side of caution and just leave it alone. Yeah, trouble is, you know, this new low, try go once, it could trigger you and then create a failed second entry short and push up. So I don't really want to get, I mean, it's the type of bar, and I love where it is, the type of bar to go short, but just the fact that we're bouncing off these lows, then I think it's a bit dangerous. May come curling down, it might work, but for me, it's just, I think it's a bit risky. Yeah, see, we don't use VWAP in this trading style. I mean, we don't use any indicators bar the 21-day exponential moving average, and the rest really are just the odd line here and just trend channels and range channels. That's all we really use in this. That's part of the beauty of it. Obviously, the more you incorporate indicators, the more complicated and busy the chart can look sometimes. So it's just not something we use personally, but that's not to say obviously you can't. I mean, I've certainly considered looking into some form of footprint or what's the word I'm looking for? Order flow, some form of order flow, just to see if it could possibly play a part. I mean, things do change and move on, and I think as you develop a trader, it's sort of, you tweak things and maybe have your own edge and your own slight way of doing it. Like for instance, that one for me, that was, we cleaned the downtrend. That for me was one leg up, a little bit of pullback, and a second leg up. It's not everyone's cup of tea, that, but we all sort of develop slightly our own style of trading. And you know, Mac still scalps a point. I think more scalp 2 points now than scalp a point. I tend to go for around about the 1-to-1, 3 to 4 points, or a little bit more if the market will give me. Things like Taylor from Top Pick Trading, he goes for an average 3 to 4 points. I think Marco still goes for 1.5. I know the Penguins guy goes from anywhere from 1-to-1 to 2-to-1. The Gorilla guy goes for a minimum of 5 points, and in some cases more. So everyone, I suppose, they develop their own sort of, their own feel for the market. I went away from scalping a point because I just saw so much more money left on the table, and for me, there's nothing more frustrating than taking 4 winning trades and having them completely wiped out by the 5th one loser. It's just heartbreaking. So it was quite an easy decision for me. I went over Daniel's charts every day for a fortnight, and I looked at every trade he took, and out of about 35 trades, every single one of them made over 2 points. So it was a no-brainer for me. But it's a personal thing. Some people stick to a point and they then do some form of a runner. I just tend to use both my contracts, and what I'll do if I'm taking, say, a trade here, I'll wait for it to hit the lows, and then I'll drop my stop in, and if it does go lower, I'll drag it down, happy days. But if it doesn't and takes it out, I've got my 3 to 4 points. Took that second entry short. The bit that's making me nervous is it's bouncing off this bottom, and it looks like it's a range, and just by the way it's bounced off a few times there, that would make me nervous, because what's it pushed down? I'm not saying it's not going to. I mentioned earlier that to me it is looking bearish, but it's a little bit congested there, and look, we've broken above it, we bounced off it, bounced off it, bounced off it, pushed below, pushed up. We've had that break, but then we've pushed slowly back up, and we've bounced off it a couple of times there, we've bounced off it there, so it was just a bit risky for me. What would you have got? You'd have got a couple of points, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd have got a couple of points. Okay, there you go. So that would have worked for you. Just a little bit nervous that the fact that it's bouncing off this line and it's not a massive amount of distance to the bottom. Big bearish bar. Then I wouldn't be surprised now if that does push down. I'd say there's almost definitely going to be some long traders in that trade with this big bullish bar. So if you can get below here, we may get another leg down. So, yeah, there may be another leg down there, possible. 1 leg, 2 leg. But for me, it's just a little bit risky because these bottoms. But good on you, Johnny. It was certainly a second entry long, no argument there. That's exactly the bar I like. I like it to look like, literally finishing nice below. We've had that little bit of a stem on it. That's near on the perfect sort of bar. I prefer that red, if just sitting right at the bottom side of that, and that's a perfect bar for me. But just the fact that we've bounced off these made me a little bit nervous, and we've had what looked like a failed breakout, which pushed back in very strongly. But we could have had a couple of legs down and bounced off here, so that's what kept me out of it. But are you off, Toad, are you? Okay, have a good mate. Thanks for hooking up. Thanks for having a chat. Just appreciate you guys hooking up with me. Nice to have a chat with people, find out what everybody else is doing, what their thoughts are. So good on you, mate. I'll be here for the rest of the week as normal. I've got a dental appointment sometime next week, I believe, in the afternoon, so that might be a bit of a gap, but we'll see. Yeah, see, it's pushed it again, isn't it? Let's see how this goes. Yeah, that's why that made me a bit nervous. I tend to sort of get my trigger down here and push it down, but once it came back up, I'd be nervous. But then as soon as it pushed down, I'd probably drop mine in here. But yeah, you'd have got a few points, 3.5 points. None of that. Just looking bearish, isn't it? See, that's possible. I just don't like it. It's just a bit too messy for a range for me, a channel for me. It does look more of a range than that. Let's see. And for your lag, it should just be your computer clock out of sync. Well, I've done that before. I've looked into it before and did something like that a year or so ago, and but it's been fine up to now. Let's have a look. I know the red drives me crazy. I don't think it's a major issue, is it? I don't think if you right click on your clock on your computer, click adjust date and time. Let's have a look. Just date and time. Let me just move this out of the way. So what do I got to do here then? Let me have a look. Time. What do I need to do? You might need to help me out here. And you should see a button that says sync clock. Synchronize your clock. That one. Sync now. Is that right? Ah, look at that. Fantastic. Thank you, Chad. That's brought that right down. I'll tell you what. See, that's why I like having people look up with me, because you learn something new every day. Let me just take a photograph of that comment there, so I'll keep that one. And does it actually affect things so much? I don't know. But that has dropped that. Fantastic. Great. I don't know how much of a part it actually plays, to be honest with you. Is it just the market time behind this? Does it affect something? I'm assuming it must do if it's worth changing it. Possible second entry short. Trouble is, it's very congested and choppy there. You can get your ass kicked severely. Oh, I'm glad I found that. I know we had a conversation about 18 months ago about that. Somebody mentioned something, but it wasn't very clear, but you've just mentioned it and I've gone into it and it seemed very clear. So, okay, second entry short, where I like it, but very choppy, very sideways. I'm not going to take it because that is just triggered you and it looks like it might be on the way out to kick you in the face. And yeah, it's very congested. Does look bearish, but I don't know. It doesn't affect. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't fully understand it, to be honest with you, exactly what it does. But yeah, sometimes it's a bit annoying in it. And not only that, when it is red, you get so many people going, what's that for? What's that for? I haven't got the answers, to be honest with you. Expand the small range to the left, and you will see the triple test. Expand the small range. This one here. To the left. Are you on about here? I don't know about that. Or was it just to here? Yeah, it's not super. You're on about taking that as a. The trouble is, if you'd have took that one, look what's happening now. That would make me a bit nervous. I'd say it's quite likely that that is going to get stopped out. I mean, you could call that a triple test. That's why I don't tend to do triple tests, but it does look like a triple test. You got that one there, you got that one there, you got that one there. You may call it quadruple test. I don't know if that's the one you're on about. It's just that's quite congested, and when it's like that, I don't like to do anything short or long. Yeah, so if you'd have taken that second entry short there, or triple test, whatever way you want to call it, I'd be a bit nervous about now. Yeah. It's all this that's put me off. So regardless of what it's doing, the trouble is when you get this, it's uncertainty. I mean, we're going sideways, aren't we? Off the break of the down trend. Yeah. So you're saying there, then yeah. Hmm. Yeah. See, I didn't take that one because it's been respecting these bottoms apart from the breakout. So to me, it was a bit risky. And if you'd taken that second entry short, it just triggers you and stops you out. So that's the trouble when it's going sideways. It's risky. I did look at that. We've pushed down. We've gone up once, twice, three times. You could call that triple test. I don't know. It's just, but because it's this, it's got alarm bells written all over it, and rightly so, because it triggered the shorts, and then stopped them out. So accountability king. How you doing, mate? How you doing? Greetings. I think we can expect gorilla short setup soon if we get a measured move. Has he taken right? Okay, so I'm guessing by that. I did think about that a second ago. So you're thinking, or he's thinking that, then yeah. One leg up, two legs up. Yeah, I'm just. The trouble is, he's a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I like him. I like his balls, I got to say, but he's a little bit more risk averse to me. So yeah, he'd be doing this. He'd be going once, twice, big bearish bar coming down, but it's actually broken above there. So the trouble is when it's like this. In fact, I am going to watch him at some point. I'm going to have him on a separate little. I'll put him on my little Mac to the side of me, so I don't want it to affect this. But just be interested in what he's doing, because I like watching his videos, and I like the fact that he tries to get as much out of a move as possible. And his philosophy is, it's not about how many trades you win or lose. It's about how many points you get out of it when you win. And I kind of like that. So, yeah, it's just a bit unpredictable. See, one leg tips a little bit more than a measured leg, wasn't it? I do think bearish at the moment. We had this push down, a little bit of a correction, and I think we're coming down again, but I'm not convinced enough to be able to trade on it. Obviously, I've got to trade on what I see. What I feel is it's coming down, but what I see is I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if it is, when it is. I kind of like that. It seems to be fitting nice in there at the moment, but I'd rather it bounce off here again first before I actually start to. Sam, how you doing, mate? How you doing? Bit Yeah, it's definitely gone a bit sideways. I think we can agree there. All good. Happy days. Happy days. I'm all right, mate. Did you sort out that Facebook group? What we were talking about? You got that all sorted? I'd say there was a mistake or something by the sounds of things. Uh, no need. No. Oh, okay. 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 All right. Uh, Interesting to see if it does come up here for this. All we need is you. Thank you, mate. You've installed faith in me. I'm just going to put that top line there just in case. I mean, it could. It sort of almost looks like a bit of a trend, doesn't it? It's just trouble is because I've got so much on at the moment. In fact, let me just clear some of this up because it just gets a bit confusing after a while. It looks almost like a bit of a trend, doesn't it? But just if we can get to here and bounce off down, then I may sort of draw the bottom section of it. Okay, I thought you might be able to copy it. Excuse me. Oh, it's very slow, isn't it? Very slow. Very slow. It almost does look like it's trending, doesn't it? Trending down. Mm. Yeah, I've got a clue what's going on here. We've had this break. Even if we had a second entry off here, I'm not convinced. I'm not comfortable with going along here. If anything, we're sort of, I'd say it's more bearish like at the moment. But this is a bit of range, so I'm unsure of what's going on. It's a little bit choppy. We've had this little bit of chop, push up, a little bit of sideways, push down, bit of chop. It's a bit choppy and a bit risky. Is this the algo or the lunch? Probably part of the reason is I'd say lunch, and I'd say partly the reason it's a little bit uncertainty as to what's going on. But where are we now? As you guys are 4 hours east, East Coast is 4 hours ahead at the moment because you came forward an hour, so that will be 12:20, 12:20 p.m. God, you guys go for lunch early. 12:20. We tend to be 1 o'clock in the UK. 12. What are you about? 12 o'clock till about 1:45, something like that. I'm not sure what your sort of institutional lunch hour would be, but it is definitely a bit quieter. I'd say it's probably because of that, but there is a little bit of uncertainty at the moment. It's just not ideal at the moment, is it? Not sure what we're doing very much. Sort of sideways here with a couple of bits of break, a couple of pushes out there, but it does seem to be working down, but I'm not convinced enough to be able to think about trading it, really. I want something a bit more obvious. What time is it? Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick few minute break. I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee and then we'll go on for about another 20 minutes. See how we get on. But I'm not in a rush to take anything. I mean, I'm up this for today on 2 counts. And to be fair, the way things are today, I'm more than happy with that. I'm happy to be green. So a couple of minutes, I'll make myself a quick coffee and then we'll do another 20 minutes. Okay. Right, let's see what I'm seeing here. Looks like a couple of legs up to me. One leg. Two leg, which should take us right to the top of here. So, let me get rid of that. What am I doing? Let me just tone this down. Let's get rid of this. Now, let's see if this plays a part. No. Where's the orange? Where's my orange? Where's my orange? Is that the one I like? That'll do. Okay. I don't know. You've got to be careful doing this because this to me is also. Oh god, that's just messing things up, isn't it? Violet. Oh, that sounds posh. Oh, it doesn't help either, does it? Okay. Let's go back to grey. No. Uh, hmm. I'm messing up a bit too much, am I? No, let's get rid of this for the minute. Yeah, I think the safest option is this is ranging at the moment. I like that colour, wherever it is. Violet, is it? I like it. Oh, it's navy. Yeah, surely not. That's navy. Oh, okay. Doesn't look very navy, does it? Okay, where are we? We're here at the moment. One leg, two legs up. Now, mm. uh, I really don't know what's going on at the moment. Nothing's too clear at the moment. It's sideways and slow. I think I'm probably going to knock it on the edge for the day. I think I'm up to, well, 266 after fees. That's on 2 accounts, so that's over 500 between the two. So they're coming up nice, that, so I'm pleased with that. So that's probably going to be it. Don't forget tonight, if you are in the market for any valuations, excuse me, the 80% off finishes, I believe, midnight tonight Eastern Standard Time. And then it goes back. I think it's still 50%. So it, but I was chatting with a pal of mine the other day, and I know how well Apex do, depending on what offer they have on, because obviously as an affiliate, like there are others out there, we know when obviously we get an email saying we've had, 5 accounts been taken, and when we go on to the 80%, it goes crazy. It's probably like about 8-1. So I'll be shocked if at some point they don't do 80% off full time, because I would say they sell 8 to 10 of these 80% compared to the 50%. So I just think it's a no-brainer for them. And that's the trouble when you put these such great offers in so often, people just wait for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring this in permanently at some point. But they never seem to go past 3 or 4 weeks without having it. So, but that's just my thought. I was chatting with a friend. So anyway, it's there. If you use it, it's much appreciated. But it doesn't cost you anything more. But it does finish at midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. So, excuse me a second. So there you go. So I'll be here tomorrow. So I appreciate all you guys. Thanks, Indy. I appreciate all you guys hooking up with me and having a chit chat and seeing how we're getting on. And there's a few things I've learned today about getting rid of that and incorporating. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I can't see it does any harm. It certainly seems to play a part at points. But that's the official market open, although the market opens. I think it only closes for about 15 minutes now, doesn't it? It used to close for an hour to maintenance, but I think it's only about 15 minutes. I might be wrong. But obviously then this opens. So that is the official open of the day. The following day, which would be after the market opens, obviously, but the official would be 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the official open. So let's put that in and see if it plays a part. So one trade today, slightly more risky, but I thought it was okay. 1 push up, 2 push up. And it was the short failure trap that took me in, and I waited till that one closed and then went below it, picked up 2 3/4 points. So I hope you've done a trade today. I hope you've not had such a too bad day. So there it is. That's me, and that's it for tomorrow. So have a great evening. Stay safe, guys, and I will chit chat with you all same time tomorrow.